and welcome to episode 8 of IndieCast. This is the world's only podcast dedicated to everything indie on the PlayStation Vita. Oh yes, this is part of the Heroes of Handheld network, of course, and once again, I'm your host. My name is Colin Byrne, and this week I'm going to be discussing some new indie games, some indie games that are quite old but I've been playing, and just the usual banter. You always find banter on Heroes of Handheld, and as usual, you can find this on, well, I say as usual, it's only been like this for the past few weeks. You can find this whole episode videoed on our YouTube page. You'll be able to find the YouTube link on heroesofhandheld.com. I'll put it in the description of this podcast as well, so you'll easily be able to find it. So basically, I'm recording the podcast normally, and I'm also videoing myself as well. And for anyone who's watching the video, I'm going to wave. Hello, video people. Hello. Yeah, as you can see, my Vita is here. Oh, yes, my cool Vita. And for those who can't see the video, you need to move into the 21st century. Come on, people. What are you doing? All the kids love video. So come on. Anyway, let's move along, shall we? Let's talk some news, because there's been a lot of exciting news on the indie front this week. Yes, there's been a... oh, I still haven't got the technical side of this down. Right, so this week there's been a few announcements of upcoming indie games on the PlayStation Vita. As you know, a lot of people are thinking that Sony are maybe trying to make the Vita a indie machine. A lot of people think that. I mean, it is true. There are a lot of fantastic indie games on the PlayStation Vita at the moment, and the list just keeps on coming. All games that were originally on PC or originally on the home consoles are slowly making their way to the Vita. It's quite exciting, because these are some games that obviously I don't do PC gaming at all. Not at all. I don't have Steam. Basically, I use a laptop for everything, and my laptop can barely stand up, so I can't even play the cheapest of indie games on the PC. So my point of entry really is the PlayStation Vita. And I've played some fantastic games on the Vita, which obviously are big online PC games, like Thomas Was Alone, Limbo, which was obviously was on the Xbox, and now it's on every console imaginable. What other indie games have I played? Oh, Super Crate Box, which is one of my favourite indie games. Commando, the list goes on. But yeah, as I said, my PlayStation Vita is my point of entry for indie games. And it's quite exciting when I see this list here. I've got 3 upcoming games that were announced. Every week there seems to be a host of new games that come out on the Vita, which are indie. The first one is Steam World Dig. Now, this one's coming out on the PS4 and PS Vita, and there's going to be a cross-buy version. So when you buy it on one, you'll get it on the other. And it's currently already available on Nintendo 3DS, Windows PC, Mac, and Linux. It's going to cost about $10. There's no UK or European price yet, but $10, and it's out in March, I believe. Yes, March 2014. And $10, which, I mean, for anyone who's not from America, that's about £7, I think, £7. So that's not too bad at all. It's about the average price of an indie game on the PlayStation Vita. It's a steampunk adventure in the West. It's in a Western setting. It's a 2D adventure. It requires the players to assume the role of Eastwood-esque robot Rusty, who has to dig into a dark and rich underground so as to save a mining town. That sounds awesome. Indie games are always so cool, aren't they? Always so creative. So yeah, I look forward to that. I'll give that a I'll check it out. I might even do a review for it when it's out in March. And March isn't that far away. It's only a couple of weeks. So look out for that. That is called Steam World Dig. And most of you have probably already played it. I don't know. Especially all you Nintendo nerds out there. I'm guessing Chris probably knew about this as well. I'll have to ask him on the next Heroes of Handheld. Right, the next one. Now, this one excited me because I'm a big fan of cats. Yes, I'm a cat man. I own a cat. I love cats. You know, the age-old debate on whether dogs or cats make better pets. Hey, dogs might be more loyal, but cats are softer? I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, I love cats because I have a cat, basically. And there's a game called Mousecraft, which is coming out on the PlayStation Vita soon. It's an indie title, obviously. It's a puzzle game. And what I love about this is I saw some screenshots for Mousecraft, and I'll put some of the images in the description of this podcast. And basically, there's like a massive cat in the background. And I think the whole idea is you control the landscape. You change the landscape to get the mice safely through the level. I'm not sure whether the big cat is the evil cat, whether it's a Tom and Jerry sort of thing, but he does look very cuddly. It said on the description of the game, it says players cannot control individual mice or even a group of mice. Instead, gamers interact with the environment and with decent strategy can avoid obstacles and create a path for the mice to take. And apparently there's over 50 levels in the campaign mode, and the difficulty increases throughout. We've seen games like this before. Lemmings is a good example. Furmins on the Vita, which I played and reviewed a few episodes ago. That was a fun game. Basically, where you have to like change the layout, manipulate the layout and the environment so the creatures can get safely to the exit. I think that it's just these sort of games, because they're so frequently made and they're fun games to have on handheld devices, like not just Vita, 3DS, iPad and iPhone, Android. Basically, they all have the same concept, but to make them more interesting, I believe, and this is obviously true, I believe that the developers have to try and think of creative narrative around it, and what they've done here, they've used mice and cats, which is quite cool. And as I love cats, I will definitely check this out. There's no price details yet, but it's going to be released for the PlayStation Vita in May. And there's also PC and PlayStation 4 versions confirmed. So completely going back on what I said earlier, it seems that the Vita is getting Mousecraft first, which is exciting. We'll get it before the PC. So look out for that in May. That actually sounds pretty cool. And lastly, a game called Risk of Rain. Now, I'm probably insulting a lot of people here, but I'd never heard of this game. And from what I've read online, this is quite a popular and big game. It's a spacey platformer sort of game. It was released on the PC back in November, and I believe it was funded through Kickstarter. I know it won an award at the Student Gamer Development Awards recently, because obviously a group of students made it. There's no details on what the Vita port will look like, how it will work on the Vita, and there's no price points yet. But look out for this. Risk of Rain is what it's called, and it looks very, very cool. It was originally released on Steam, as most games are. But yes, this looks very, very exciting. So we look forward to that. And as I said, there's no details on release dates yet. So yes, that's Risk of Rain, Mousecraft, and SteamWorld Dig all coming to the Vita this year. And obviously, there's already a massive host of games coming as well. But talking of indie games that aren't new, maybe, I've got a game I've been playing this week. It's one that's been out for a while, but if you're a regular listener to Heroes of Handheld, the main show, and this indie show, you will know that I am a bit of a cheapskate, and when it comes to buying games, I always seem to wait for them to be discounted, which is what's happened to this game. So let's move on to the reviewy section. So, what have I been playing? I have been playing an awesome game called Hotline Miami. Now, you've probably all heard of it. It's been out for a couple of months. Everyone raved about it when it first came out, but it's been reduced to £2.38 in the UK as part of one of Sony's February price cuts, which is a fantastic price. That's about half price, I believe, from what it originally was. I'd heard a lot about it. I knew it was very old school, like a lot of indie games are now. They like to bring back that nostalgia feeling and old style pixely feel. And I'm a few levels into it, and I have to say it's probably the most violent game I've played in a couple of years. I have to say it is very, very violent, very bloody, and it's a top-down game. So you're looking down on the environment and you control a character, and basically the whole point of the game is to kill everyone on the map. But there's a sort of twist in the gameplay in the fact you don't have a life bar. If you get shot or hit or anything, you die instantly. So believe me, there is a lot of replaying of levels in this game, and it's very frustrating. But it's one of those games that if you die, you always think, oh no, I've got to keep going, and before you know it, you've been on the same level for about 5 hours. But it's very violent. There's a host of weapons you can use. So far, I've had like a baseball bat, a machine gun, a shotgun, and if you only don't have a weapon and use your fists, you have to finish off the enemies by smacking their head against the ground. It's so violent, but so fun. What does it say about us gamers that we love? We love brutally murdering people in video games. But no, really is a lot of fun, and you probably all played it, but it's the first time I played it. And I really enjoyed it. I really am enjoying it. I've still, as I said, I've barely scratched the surface. I've still got a lot of masks to unlock. But yeah, it's really cool. Really well. Well, I was about to say it looks nice, but I'm not going to lie. I don't actually like the look of it. That may surprise some of you. A lot of these old styles in video games lately, especially the indie game look. I mean, I like the look of Proteus, if you remember that, where it's like a pixely world you explore. I've actually been playing Proteus a bit more lately because I love that game. It's so good. All these games that use that old style, and most of the time I like it. It looks nice. But Hotline Miami, I know it's probably done deliberately. It's a very dark, gritty, sort of ugly looking game with a lot of dark colours. Just very ugly. That's the way I'd describe it. But yeah, it's really fun. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is, how the creators wanted it to look, wanted it to feel, very dark and gritty, because it's a very dark and gritty storyline. And it's exciting because we've got the second game coming out this year, I believe, Hotline Miami 2. So we look forward to that as well. I think that's the final game. It's not going to be a trilogy. It's just 2 games, which is a shame. We wanted more than 2. But yeah, I'll look forward to that. And I've been playing that mostly this week. But another game I've been playing, I mention this every week, Super Crate Box. That is such a good game. I mean, I'd never played it before. I think it was out on iPad and iPhone and probably Android as well. But I got it on my Vita back when Sony were doing their free mobile game promotion on the Vita, and it's just so addictive. For anyone who doesn't know, Super Crate Box, basically you're a little boxy character, and a bunch of ghouls are constantly coming down from the top, and there's like different layers to the level, and you've got to stop them from getting to the bottom, because if they get to the bottom, they land in a fire, they turn red, and they start sprinting everywhere. Which does sound pretty confusing, but basically you just have to shoot them. Basically, the idea is you've got to try and beat your score, and how you get points is by picking up crates. And each crate, when you walk through a crate, you get a new weapon. And the more crates you get, the more levels, the more you progress, the better guns you get. But there's a massive array of weapons. There's a katana, the big sword. There's a massive laser gun. There's a massive minigun. There's a machine gun, a shotgun, dual pistols, a normal I don't know what they're called, Magnum. It's just so good. It's really addictive, really nice to look at, very bright and pretty, completely opposite to Hotline Miami. And I can't stress this enough, people. Just go get it. Go get Super Crate Box. I mean, with the joysticks on the Vita, it just plays so well. It's not the easiest game either. It's a bit tricky at points. So yeah, I'd like to know your opinions on that game. So if you want to contact me, you can email heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. That's heroesofhandheld@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear your opinions on that. Or of course you can contact us through Twitter. That's @Handheld Podcast. Handheld Podcast. We'd love to hear your opinions on the indie games on the Vita. And what are you most looking forward to in the next few weeks? There must be some games coming out. There's so many games coming out. There must be some that you're looking forward to. So let us know on Twitter and through email and on comments on this episode, or in iTunes reviews. Anything you want, and any games that you're looking forward to, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. The game I'm looking forward to this year is Counter Spy, which has been teased for over a year now. I can't wait for that to come out. So yes, we wait and see when there's actually going to be a release date for that, because there ain't one yet. There ain't one. Right, and I think that's about all we've got time for this episode. So thank you for listening, everybody. As I said, there's so many ways you can get in contact with us. Me and Christopher, who is the other person behind Heroes of Handheld, me and him like to constantly tweet on Twitter. We like anything we release, any news stories. Well, we write a few articles on the website heroesofhandheld.com. Yes, go heroesofhandheld.com, read our articles. Anything we post on the website goes automatically into Twitter, so all our new podcasts, all our new articles, all our new reviews, everything will be on Twitter. So you should be following us at Handheld Podcast. We'd love to see you follow us, and we'd love to tweet you. But people, until In 2 weeks' time, I'll be back, and I hope you enjoy playing Hotline Miami if you picked it up on the dirt cheap or Super Crate Box. Have a great 2 weeks, and we should be back either tomorrow or, well, in 2 days with the Heroes of Handheld main show. Bye-bye.